5 signs the financial system is quietly breaking in 2026. You check your bank account. You got paid last week, and somehow it's already almost gone. Not because you went crazy spending, not because you bought something big, just food, bills, a couple subscriptions, and now you're sitting there thinking, wait, how am I still broke even though I'm doing everything right? Look, if that thought has crossed your mind even once this year, this video is going to feel a little uncomfortable, because here's the thing, it might not be you. My name is Jean, and I spend way too much time thinking about how money systems actually work behind the scenes. If you're someone who feels like you're earning more but somehow falling further behind, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because today, we're going to talk about something most people feel, but can't quite explain. The quiet signs that the financial system itself might be starting to crack. And no, this isn't some conspiracy theory. These are patterns backed by real data, real numbers, and real behavior shifts happening right now in 2026. Sign number 1. Your money is losing value faster than you can earn it. Here's what most people don't realize. Inflation isn't just things getting more expensive, it's your time becoming less valuable. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say in 2020, you were earning $1,000 a month. Fast forward to 2026, and now you're earning $1,300. You feel like you're doing better, right? But here's the problem. If prices went up 40% during that same period, then your $1,300 today is actually worth less than your $1,000 before. You didn't get a raise. You got a pay cut in disguise. And this is where it gets really interesting, because most people don't notice this happening. Why? Psychology. Your brain focuses on nominal gains, the number going up, not real value, what it actually buys. So you feel like you're progressing, even when you're slowly falling behind. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but inflation always happens, right? Yes, but not like this. Wage growth is lagging behind real cost of living increases in most major economies. Housing, healthcare, education, even basic groceries are rising faster than income. That gap? That's not normal. That's stress building in the system. Sign number 2, debt is becoming the default survival tool. Look, debt used to be something you used to get ahead. Now, it's something people use just to stay afloat. Let's talk numbers. The average credit card interest rate in many countries is now hovering around 20% to 25%. So if you carry a $2,000 balance at 25% interest, that's $500 per year just in interest for doing absolutely nothing. And here's the scary part. More people are not using credit cards for luxury purchases. They're using them for groceries, rent gaps, utility bills. That's not leverage, that's survival. And here's what most people don't realize. A system that relies on people going into debt just to function is not a stable system. It's like a chair with one broken leg. It might still stand, but only until a little more pressure is added. Sign number 3. Asset prices are completely detached from reality. Let's talk about something that confuses a lot of people. Why is everything so expensive, but people are still buying? Housing, stocks, crypto, even cars. Here's the thing. Prices are no longer being driven by value. They're being driven by liquidity. Let me simplify that. When central banks print more money or keep interest rates low, that money has to go somewhere. So it flows into assets, which pushes prices up, not because the assets are more valuable, but because there's more money chasing them. Here's a simple example. Let's say a house was worth $100,000. If suddenly everyone has access to cheap loans, people can afford to bid $120,000. Then $150,000, then $200,000. Did the house become twice as good? No, the money just became easier. This is where it gets really interesting, because now we're seeing a disconnect. People can't afford homes, but prices are still high. Investors are pulling back, but markets are still volatile. That tension, that's another crack forming. Sign number 4. Good financial advice is starting to fail. This one might hit a little close to home. You've probably heard this advice before. Save 20% of your income. Build an emergency fund. Invest consistently. Avoid debt. And look, this is still good advice. But here's the uncomfortable truth. It's becoming harder to follow and less effective for the average person. Let's break it down. If your rent takes 50% of your income and food takes another 20%, where exactly is that 20% savings supposed to come from? And even if you do save, where do you put it? Savings accounts barely keep up with inflation. Investing feels risky when markets are unstable. This is where it gets really interesting. Because the system was designed around predictability, stable jobs, stable prices, stable growth. But today, nothing feels stable. So the same strategies that worked 20 years ago don't hit the same way anymore. Now, you might be thinking, so what? Financial advice is useless now. Not exactly, it just needs to evolve. Sign number 5. People are quietly losing trust in the system. This is the biggest one, and it's the hardest to measure, but you can feel it. More people are questioning traditional careers, avoiding long-term commitments like mortgages, exploring alternative income streams, distrusting institutions. Here's what most people don't realize. Financial systems don't collapse overnight. They erode slowly, then suddenly. And one of the earliest signs is a loss of trust, because money itself is built on belief. If people believe the system works, they participate, they save, they invest. But if that belief weakens, behavior changes. People start playing defense, holding cash, avoiding risk, or sometimes taking too much risk trying to escape. And that shift in behavior, that's what accelerates instability. So what does this actually mean for you? Okay, at this point you might be thinking, great, everything's broken. Now what? Look, I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to make you aware. Because awareness gives you options. And here's what you can actually do. 1. Focus on increasing income, not just cutting costs. Here's the thing, there's a limit to how much you can save, but there's no limit to how much you can earn. If inflation is eating your income, the solution isn't just budgeting harder, it's upgrading your earning ability, skills, side income, negotiation. Because in a shifting system, income flexibility is power. 2. Build optionality, not just savings. Most people think financial security means having money in the bank, but in 2026, it means having options, multiple income streams, transferable skills, low fixed expenses. Because the more options you have, the less fragile your situation becomes. 3. Be strategic with debt. Debt isn't evil, but blind debt is dangerous. Ask yourself, is this debt helping me grow or just helping me survive? Because survival debt compounds stress, growth debt compounds opportunity, and knowing the difference, that's everything. 4. Invest, but understand why. Don't just invest because someone said you should. Understand what you're buying, why it has value, and what risks you're taking. Because in unstable systems, blind investing becomes expensive tuition. 5. Stay calm. While others panic. This might be the most important one. When systems feel unstable, people make emotional decisions. They panic sell, they overreact, they freeze. But the people who stay calm, who think clearly, who adapt instead of react, those are the ones who come out ahead. Closing story. Let me leave you with this. Imagine 2 people in the same situation, same income, same expenses, same economy. One says, everything is broken, there's nothing I can do. The other says, okay, the rules are changing, let me learn the new game. Fast forward 5 years. Their lives will look completely different, not because the system treated them differently, but because they responded differently. Final thoughts plus call to action. Look, the financial system might be shifting. It might even be breaking in certain ways. But that doesn't mean you have to break with it. Here's what most people don't realize. Every major shift in the system, creates opportunity for the people who see it early. So don't ignore these signs. Don't panic either. Understand them, adapt to them, and position yourself ahead of them. If this video made you think a little differently about money, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment below which of these signs have you personally felt the most. Because chances are you're not the only one. And the more we understand what's really happening, the better decisions we can all make moving forward. I'll see you in the next one.